The hardest part initially was nobody was informed. Nobody knew what was going on.
20 days. That's how long it's been for some people in Oscoda County to be without power after that devastating ice storm. Thanks for joining us tonight. We begin 6 as things are slowly returning to normal in several counties in the northern part of the state after that massive ice storm. But close to 3 weeks later, some people still don't have power. ABC 12's Terry Camp joining us now. So Terry, what have they been doing?
Well, Angie, some have been using generators, but sometimes those go out too. The people who live in Greenwood Township in the northern part of Oscoda County, north of Mayo, have been helping each other. Helen Duncan says the kindness of friends and strangers is getting her through this.
The first 2 nights were the scariest. There were branches and limbs falling off trees, snapping like toothpicks, hitting the roof, falling off the roof.
Helen Duncan is blind, lives alone, and admits that night of March 28th when the ice storm hit, snapping trees on the power lines was a bit scary. She says her Alexa device informed her some weather was moving into northern Oscoda County.
Icy weather on Saturday. Just icy weather. No, we didn't know there was going to be an ice storm of the century.
It is being called a once-in-a-generation ice storm that left thousands without power for days, and basically power companies in the northern part of the state having to rebuild their power grid.
In nearly 3 weeks.
Yes, it's been exhausting.
The township hall has been open 24/7 to help residents who need a warm meal or a place to sleep.
People can come in, charge their phones, get on the Wi-Fi, call their loved ones and let them know that they're okay.
Kind of like living off grid with no grid.
Bernadette Evans lived in her home for about 2 weeks with no power and had no generator until this past weekend, using just a propane heater to stay warm.
I had angels bring propane tanks full of propane and set them on my porch, and I didn't know who did it.
Helen Duncan had a generator for the first 2 weeks following the storm, but it stopped working this past weekend. She says she got a miracle a short time later.
I needed an electrician and a man who knew about generators. They showed up at my door. I didn't call them. They just showed up.
Friends check on her all day. A disaster strikes, leaving people without power and communication for days. Helen knows how she survived.
Our belief in God and Jesus, that He will never leave us nor forsake us.
The power could come back now at any time for those residents. It's either today or tomorrow. Governor Whitmer has asked President Trump to declare several counties in northern Michigan a presidential emergency declaration. And if Trump does that, up to $5 million would be available in immediate public assistance to support emergency efforts.